My voice is wearing out, but fuck it. I can stand the heat. I don't give a damn. I just had to get this off my chest before this story gets irrelevant. And so recently, there's feminists are on the black feminism is on the rise due to a couple of white people, two white males to be specific, and one uh, protest, I believe in New York. As we're all aware of the whole "Say Her Name" hashtag, to where feminists want to give honor to black women and girls who were gunned down by police, and there's kind of like this little envy and tension of how black males are televised. Their victimization is televised, but nobody covers black women and the girls, and that's you majority of the time. You know, black women's in those situations are kept under the rug. Usually, you have to hear about that through the internet or some kind of local news, and it is messed up that a lot of those girls don't get their story out there. I was very angry about how a lot of people were angry about the Oklahoma cop who was on a rape spree, raping women, and I think he raped like what 15, maybe 20 women, and yet that was swept under the rug. Um, but there was a beating on the highway, and that made national news. Everybody saw it. And I think the lady made like $1 million in the court suit, and that was a victory. But yeah, I'm aware of others who were not as fortunate and didn't. Yeah, but I'm aware of those who were not fortunate, or to live or at least have their voice heard. And this is why I say it's important for black people to get their own media, so we won't have to be looking at white daddy and say, hey, grab him by his coattail and be like, hey, how come we're not on television? How come we're not um, mentioned? How come we don't have hashtags and all this shit? If you had your own media, you wouldn't have to worry about that constantly. But, to me, with feminism is that, they don't like mainstream media, yet they bitch and moan about how they're not in mainstream media. So it's kind of a contradiction, and I don't understand them. So that's why I'm kind of look at black feminists weird, because it's like, just put your money together and just have your own media. You know, have a channel, at least a feminist channel, and just say like, hey, this is our media, and we don't need mainstream media um, approval. We don't need their co-signing or anything. Uh, that's just my solution to all this so-called silence of the black female victim. Um, the reason why I mentioned two white folks earlier was because I was reading a post, and this was by a feminist, and she was talking on the lines of, she was in an all Black Lives Matter um, protest, and she saw two white men holding up black women's lives matter too. And she got confused, and she was like, huh, they got a good point. And she started, I guess, I don't know if it was her, but I guess she started or was on the bandwagon of Say Her Name, or her uh, Black Women Lives Matter, whatnot. And black people just stay confused and we stay getting okey doked by the littlest shit. We see a white dude, and a lot of these protests are funded by whites, especially white supremacists. And that's why, with them is that with these white folks in these organizations and funding it, you will have black people who are redirecting the energy. And the thing is that we already have a good hashtag, all Black Lives Matters or Black Lives Matter. It's general. Actually Black Lives Matter is is a good one. It's general, it's simple, and it's an all-encompassing circle, that covers everybody. Black, light, dark skin, light skin, mixed, male, female, gay, straight, trans, young, old, rich, poor, disabled, blah blah blah. It covers that. But the problem is that we have these white males who come in there and they want to have their little signs of Black women's lives matter too, and we see what they're doing. They're just campaigning for some black ass and just trying to make black women feel special by white daddy, and so they get confused. And this whole thing about say her name or black women's lives matter too it's a farce, and I don't support it. And it just needs to stop. It doesn't mean I'm sexist or I don't want black women to have their shine, but the thing is that we already have an all-encompassing forum or hashtag to where we don't need to be Pacific. We don't need to be. And so yeah, I hate when I see these little internet activists come onto the forefront and just put their little 2 cents in and be like, well, the trans lives aren't being told, and then it's like, well, the gay lives aren't being told. Well, and you have all these people who don't even really care for black people like that, but they come into the forum and they want to put, they want to have like they want to have the majority of the pie. And, you'll have somebody just come in and be like, well, hey, the gay community should have 50%, and the heterosexual blacks can get 10%, and everybody else can get the leftovers. And it's just, that's what I'm seeing. And it's like, well, can we get equal treatment, equal publicity, equal love amongst our own? And I kind of noticed that, a lot of people who don't even care about black people are creating these hashtags to create division. Case in point, if you look at Tommy Sotomayor, he has a little campaign going on for his movies, for his little Fatherless America. And he has a shirt, and he's starting a hashtag called Kids Lives Matter. And it's like kind of ironic that he champions black fathers, or at least fathers in the household, yet he doesn't even like black women. What kind of father do you expect this black male to be? A father of a biracial, or adopting, or you just like those cases to where you like seeing fathers fight over kids, over their kids because of their hood rat mom or whatever. Because I'm looking at Tommy side-eyed because he doesn't give a damn about black kids. There was a fight in I think it was in Tuskegee University and some other southern school, and these cheerleaders were fighting, and he just kind of went on like a little nigga fest, and it was like, it's like this dude has no compassion for black girls, especially if they're dark skinned. he has no compassion for them. He'll call kids nigglets and silly shit like that. He he loves giving these black women and black girls a nigga name and then put like an animal compound next to it. He loves calling them beasties and all these other names. Now he's calling them BT 1000s, trying to make a point like these black women are so heartless and they're just these silent killers. And I understand that there are a good bit of black women who are hard to deal with, but you know but it's just kind of weird. Like, you don't like black family structure. Like, coming from Tommy Sotomayor, he doesn't like black family structure. He may be cool with a good bit of black men, but when he sees black women, especially a dark skinned one, he ain't looking her with respect. So if you don't, you talking about you support family values and structure and shit. It just seems like you're cool with just like being you just like everything except the black female, the black mother. It's like you like everything else but that. And so I'm looking at him side eye with him creating these little hashtags of kids lives matter, and then it's like you talk so much shit about kids, especially black ones. And it's like, why I'm looking at him like, why do you care? You said fuck the black community plenty and multiple times with a smile, with glee. So what does a black family structure have to do with you, since you don't want to be part of the black community, since you don't identify with them? But this just proves my point. A lot of these people creating these hashtags don't give a shit about black people. They're just there to create divisions and make black people sound selfish. So if I just walk around and just say, hey, with a t-shirt that says, well, Black Lives Matter, you're going to have somebody come up to me saying like, oh, that's fucked up that you're wearing that or you support that. All people matter, despite their color. There's no color in this world. Oh, that's fucked up. What, you don't like the gays? Oh, that's fucked up. What, the women don't get no shine? And we have all these idiots, man. We have too much of these idiots hashtagging every little thing. It's ridiculous. So we really, like black people, and we really need to put these so-called black activists, these so-called internet activists in check and just kind of tell them, hey, fuck your hashtags. We're not going to live off a hashtag. All it is just a bunch of circulating bullshit, and then we still get no justice, we still get no wins, we still get nothing. So I'm just kind of like, what's the point of all these little slogans if it's not going to do anything? And that's why I don't really support this whole SayHerName or Black Women's Lives Matter. That's why I'm not riding the coattail, because I've read, the early post about it, the early stuff about it, and especially the one about, especially the one in California, to where you have these females, and these were ugly, fat females who were out of shape, and there was like only one or two that looked good, to be honest with you. And you had these women showing their breast out, trying to give condolences, and yet again, symbolic gestures of black women who were victimized, and they were not named, they were not put on television. And I'm just looking at it like, that's all you're gonna do. What is it gonna do? Is that it? Is that all you can do? Just walk around the streets with your top off, acting like you're doing something profound, and then these feminists, they're very adaptive, and I'll make a video about the adaptiveness of black feminism. But these feminists were on this whole African tip of, well, in Africa, women walked around topless, and I was just like, that's just gonna be something for another video. It's just so much to cover. But overall, this whole thing was stupid. They're trying to give thanks, well, give condolences and, support for black women who were victimized, not just by police brutality, but also the cases of abuse, rape, molestation, sexist crimes. And my thing was like, if you're going to, if you're trying to stop rape and these so-called sexist crimes, do something about it. It's cool if you okay. It's cool if you're in those domestic households, domestic abuse hotlines, and you work there, and you're at the shelter. That's cool. But the thing is that there's no. All these feminists can do is be advocates. All they can do is kind of create a safeguard, a little hiding spot. They're not doing anything to stop it in general, or stop it during or before it happens. That's my thing with these black feminists, is that they don't do anything. They just kind of wait for the situation to happen, and then they just wave their finger around and nothing gets done. Well, sometimes things get done, but most of the time nothing gets done with them. They're just failures in my eyes, and I just kind of wonder, like, why do people even take black feminism seriously? You know? Kind of forgot my point I was trying to make, but I remember now. But these black feminists, they're not creating systems or programs or anything to where they're preventing it before it happens. They're not going to schools or high schools, at least, to where most people are dating and trying to like do these little seminars for black couples, and they encourage men to come along even if they're single, and they give them like a little prep talk and advice about how to deal with domestic issues and anger and violence. It's one thing if they were doing that, like going to the boys, going to men, and just kind of just saying like, hey, don't put your anger out on her. I would get that, but they're not doing that in majority. Most of the time with these feminist circles, when they're talking about domestic abuse, it's usually between their own circle. And their circle is usually women who are lesbians or who are asexual. They don't really have any kind of preference. They're just confused. They just have nothing. They have no idea what they want sexually. You have a lot of these confused black women in their circles, women who are trans, women who are gay, and they, it's not a concise circle. It's not a common circle, as I would say. And so that's the thing that I kind of like look at, with these whole black feminist movements, because it's like you're not going to the hood, you're not going to places where there is an abundance of black people. You just go to these colleges and you act like 50 people show up, and you act like you're accomplished. You act like you're doing something because the school put you on YouTube, and they think that you're scholarly and all that bullshit. And that's like the same shit with the whole street harassment. The sisters are saying like, oh, they're getting so much flack with the brothers and the thirstiness, but yet, and they want to talk about we gotta stop street harassment, but it's like, are you going up to people who do it? Are you like grabbing the dudes who are street harassing you and just kind of having like a seminar on how to talk to women with respect, this and that? And the thing is, it was a white girl that did that. And I don't like her because she does a lot of slick racist things. But at least with the white feminist, especially with this case, she targeted the guys who were trying to talk to her, and she gave them these little cards on how to talk to women and this little hotline that they call about to give information about street harassment. And I hate her, and I hate the agenda. But why don't black feminists take that same approach to where they target people who are actually doing the so-called crime? So that's why I don't even really pay no attention or pay no mind to these little stupid ass movements. They're not trying to go to the hood. They ain't trying to really connect with black women. And really, to be honest with you, a lot of those black feminists don't even like other black women. They just like other black feminists. So I don't even really, I'm not even trying to understand them or try to get on their frequency, because they're not going to do shit. They're not going to be about anything. Just a bunch of marching around naked and then acting like that's an accomplishment. Okay, hey, we got some news cameras on us. Yeah. It's a good thing we had our titties out, because if it weren't out, they wouldn't even pay us no mind. But we have to look crazy to get some attention. And it's like, okay, after you get the attention, what next? And then my thing is this, is that brothers actually try to fight for y'all, man, about racism, and try to convince you and try to talk to you. This is my message for the black women. Black men have been trying to get black women onto this program, or at least I should say seminar about racism and how it's effective and how it's hurting us. But black women don't even want to deal with racism in the past. Think of it, yeah. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to deal with racism. They want to deal with sexism. A lot of brothers can relate. When they were trying to talk to a female about racism, and the female's like, I don't like this conversation. All white people ain't bad. We're not our color, and all this other bullshit. Oh, we are all God's children, and we're all equal. We're all this and that. And it's like, man, that's what, and I'm looking at this shit like I'm shocked. Like, what? Sisters now want to cry wolf about racism? Brothers been talking about racism for the longest. Black men have been talking about it for the longest. And a lot of brothers can relate and just say, hey, man, I know a lot of sisters I've talked to who didn't even want to deal with this shit. They didn't even want to deal with it. They don't even want to acknowledge it. They don't even want to know it exists. So much denial and delusion about this perfect world that they think exists. And they still want to deny, the racism. They still can't see the white boy as as this kind of monster. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. And then when they do see that, they want to hide and be like, hey, I still don't want to acknowledge it, because it scares me, And I understand that if you're scared, but don't try to still deny it and fight it as if it don't exist when you know damn well it does, That just shit kind of irks me. And the thing is that when I was reading the article about the so-called SayHerName, blah, 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 Black Women Lives Matter, and they're also talking about, yet most of it was an agenda on sexism, not really racism. It was on sexism. And I was looking at it, and they were talking about how like women have it hard, black women are this like double minority. That's what I wanted to remember. Good thing I said that. Yeah, they keep talking about this double minority thing, about how they're hated for being black, and they're also hated because they're a woman. And I'm like, who hates you? But then again, I kind of understand. Yeah. But the thing is that it's so hard for me to believe when every fucking day you hear something, you hear an accomplishment by a black woman. You hear these struggle stories of how a black woman or a black girl had nothing and all of a sudden she had the whole world to her hand. Like that story I talked about earlier about this black girl. She was homeless and she worked her way up. She had a kid and then she became valedictorian. Black men are always bombarded with these stories and headlines of a little black girl or a black woman who's struggling and they're killing it in the game. Black men, before I say that, go like any page on Facebook, any page. It doesn't even have to be a legit news page, but like any page relating to black news. Even if it's just like a little blog thing or something, or just some kind of, internet news thing. Just like anything. Like whether it's News One, Hello Beautiful, the Harriet, or whatever. Like any page on Facebook about black news, and you will be bombarded with the kick-ass accomplishments that black women are having. They're going the moon and back, like Sarge would say, and they have all these accomplishments under their belt, and they're kicking ass. They have all these jobs, they're beating black men and everything, and we hear the trumpets and the parades, and we see the drum majors rolling their way through, for the success of black women. And the thing is that now they're talking about they're a double minority and they're hated because they're black and they're female. Like really, you talking that mess now? Well, we used to hear all these success stories, and now you're talking about you're feeling sexism in the workplace. Yet you're bragging about how much more educated you are than a brother. You're making these articles on how the more educated you are, the less likely you'll get married. Man, go out of here with all that inconsistency, man. People don't have time for that, and that's why a lot of black men and just people in general just kind of turn away with these whole black female movements because it's inconsistent. They don't want to fight the real fight. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They just want to cry and put some media attention on them, and then they'll just go about their way the next day. I'm pretty sure those females in California, going topless, fighting for black women who are raped and abused and all that, I'm pretty sure they witness it every day, and they do nothing. They do nothing but write a blog, say how fucked up it is, and go about their day. That's basically it. I ain't expecting these females to fight dudes and all that shit, but I've seen plenty of World Star videos of females fighting dudes, and they have no fear. So if you have no fear for doing, beating up a nigga for some stupid shit, why you have fear all of a sudden for beating a nigga for a good reason? For a good reason, okay? You see the inconsistencies? All those black feminists is just gonna do is just kind of cry and moan about it, and they'll go about their day. They'll do nothing. And I'm pretty sure there's a good bit of feminists who are like really serious about domestic abuse. There's a lot of them that are really serious about it. But the thing is, they're just gonna be advocates. They're just gonna be right there for you, for a shoulder to cry on. A shoulder to cry on. They're gonna be there for you for a shoulder to cry on. But they're not doing anything to prevent it. So I don't even know why they even say that. Why you're saying that you're trying to prevent these crimes from happening when you're just you're not attacking or you're not putting any emphasis on the people who do it. It's just a pity party. That's really all it is. And I'm not trying to disparage anybody who's been through rape or abuse, but I'm just saying I'm tired of hearing these so-called feminists trying to make these little movements and acting like they're going to stop it once and for all. And it's like, how are you going to stop it when you're never in the community? You're never doing programs. And when you do the programs, it's um, specifically for women. And the thing is, okay, if you want to create a comforting environment for women, I understand that. But if you're trying to stop it, how come you're so afraid to talk to the boys? You know, the men. And you have to understand, these men are not feminists, and they don't give a damn about your agenda, and they don't want to be a part of it. But the thing is, if you're so-called, if you're really, adamant about ending this, stopping this in the black community, you have to talk to them, and they're not going to talk to them. People just need to kind of like wake up with these agendas, man. I'm kind of dying to see what's the next goddamn hashtag. I swear they used them all up, but people are going to start making new ones just now.